Here are the 5 best kettlebell exercises for the obese. Why are they the best kettlebell exercises for you guys? Because they're safe, they're low impact, and they're easy to do, and you will get your body moving to progressions further on down the track. These kettlebell exercises are the hip hinge deadlift, the shoulder press, the row, the chest press, and the farmer's walk. Now, these are very, very simple exercises, but they're also going to teach you how to move properly with your body in a safe way. So, let me demonstrate these exercises and then we'll talk about them. The hip hinge deadlift. So you want to get the kettlebell and place it between your feet, roughly around the toes, okay? So you want to break from the hips here. Knees are slightly soft, shoulders pulled back. I've got a nice neutral spine here. My core is pulled in, which means my belly button is pulled in towards my spine, okay? So everything is nice and firm. So I reach down, I stick my butt out backwards. I'm breaking from the hips here. I reach down to pick up the kettlebell with 2 hands. Now I'm looking down, my eyes are down on the ground. Now I pick up the kettlebell. As I come up, my eyes are up on the horizon. I'm squeezing my glutes here and I've got full hip extension. I lower the kettlebell back down to the ground, nice and gently. And that was the hip hinge deadlift. Shoulder press. Okay, we're going to press the kettlebell upwards. So I've got a good grip here. We can also go into gripping and racking a lot further down the track. We've also got some PDFs for you to look at to how to learn how to do those properly as well. So we're going to press the kettlebell straight up overhead, making sure that you've got a good elbow lockout here. So full on lockout with the arm as much as you possibly can. Then we're going to lower it down. But as I'm lowering it down and also raising it up, my elbow remains under the weight. It's not out here, okay? So we press it up and bring it straight back down in one line. Okay, kettlebell row. We're going to do the kettlebell assisted row. So we're going to come into a lunge position here. Bend the front knee. There are different alternatives on how to do this exercise. However, this is how I'm going to show you today. Forearm is rested on the front thigh here. Kettlebell is near my front foot. Pull the shoulders back. I'm going to row it in towards my hip and then lower it down to the ground. I'm rowing it in and I'm not curling it in, bicep curling, okay? Then we're going to do a chest press, number 4. So I lay down on the ground. Okay, back is nice and flat, feet are just hip width apart here. I'm going to grab the kettlebell, roll over, pick it up nice and safely. All right, elbows to the ground. Now I'm going to raise that kettlebell up over my chest, not over my face. Elbow is locked out. And then I'm going to lower it back down, press it up, and back down. Okay. Now to do the other side, you can either bring it up around over the head, or another way to change over is just pop up and move to the other side like so. All right, there's a couple of different little transitions there for you and how to get the weight over to the other side. Do the farmer's walk. Now everybody does farmer's walk most of the time anyway, when you're not even thinking about it, picking up the groceries from the grocery store. So you've got a couple of shopping bags in each hand and that's your farmer's walk already. So you can do this with 2 bells or 1 bell. First I'll demonstrate the 1 bell. So this is good for training the opposite side of your abdominals, okay? Kettlebell is on the side of your body. It's good to do it with 1 kettlebell because you're training the opposite sides of your abdominals, your obliques and your QL. Okay, so we bend down, we hip hinge, bend the knees, pick it up, all right? Glutes are squeezed, everything is tight and taut, shoulders back, and we just walk. Okay, now if I wasn't engaging my core, the weight would pull me to one side. So now you can see how the opposite side of my core is working to help stabilize, to get my center of gravity. Now, with 2 kettlebells or 2 grocery bags, pick it up and same thing. Just walk around Now I've got more even weight distribution. I'm still working. I'm working my traps, my shoulders, my core, my legs, basically everything. So farmer's walks are really, really good. Okay, so they were the 5 best kettlebell exercises for the obese. Don't forget to go to our URL, go.cavemantraining.com/lose30. Now, are kettlebells good for fat loss, you may ask? Well, yes they are. However, it all comes down to your nutrition as well. Now, just to tell you a little bit about myself, I used to be over 265 pounds. So I've lost over 100 pounds, okay? So I've been in your shoes and I know exactly how you're feeling. You feel shy, you feel scared, lots of things are going on in your mind, but you need to get started today. You've got to take that very first step, and once you've taken that initial step, you've jumped over that hurdle, you start to progress from there. So why are these 5 kettlebell exercises good for you? Number 1, they incorporate strength. They're all strength-based exercises, which means they're non-high impact, okay? So being obese, as I was in the past myself, you're carrying a lot of weight on our joints, on our muscles, on our lower back, everywhere, okay? So we need to keep it safe to begin with. And as we become more accustomed to our body moving in different directions, different ways, picking up weights, pressing, etc., we can progress from there. Why? Because we're getting stronger and we're getting fitter. So our heart becomes more efficient at pumping blood through our working muscles, and we're working on our cardiovascular system as well. Kettlebells alone are not going to be the answer for you into losing weight. A big important factor is your nutrition. Nutrition plays a major role into losing weight, okay? So you need accountability. Accountability to be able to reach your goals. Talk to people, okay, about why you're doing this. You need to be consistent. Consistency plays a big role. So it's not something we do for 6 weeks or 8 weeks. You want to be able to make lifestyle changes. So incorporating these small changes at the beginning will eventually lead to bigger changes over time, okay? So it's not a quick fix, it's something that you want to be able to stick to. And more importantly, have some fun with it. So be creative with your nutrition. I found that the more creative I was with my nutrition and learning about new food and incorporating it in the kitchen, the more the less of a chore it become for me. Yes, at the beginning it may feel like, oh, it's hard work, it's a big effort to do this and that. Yes, it will be. I'm not going to lie to you. It will be. But then you eventually make it a habit. So you turn those small habits into bigger habits, eventually it becomes nothing. It's like a lifestyle change, and it will be a lifestyle change. Progression. You'll eventually progress into more advanced exercises. So these exercises that are here for you to learn are all a progression into other exercises that you'll be doing further down the track. Motivation. Yes, we all need motivation, but you need to have it within yourself, okay? You need to be able to motivate yourself to get out there and lift that kettlebell and get your nutrition on track. Get in the kitchen and motivate yourself to make healthier choices. Nobody can do it for you. You've got to want to do it yourself. Achievable goals. So you can't say, oh, I'm going to lose 30 kilos or 30 pounds in 1 month or 60 pounds. That's unrealistic. Make small goals. Small goals. Yeah, I'm aiming for 5 pounds this month, okay? That's a good achievable goal. Getting on the scale for that weight, the first time, take it, and then don't take it again for at least another couple of weeks. Don't go by the number on the scale. Wrap a tape measure around your waist, okay? Best way to go is you know how you're feeling within your clothes. So once those clothes start to become, feel better and feel looser, that's a good indication of you knowing that you're on the right track with things, with your training and your nutrition. So stick with it. Let's go into the first exercise, the hip hinge deadlift. Now these can be done with 1 kettlebell or 2 kettlebells, all depends on what you've got at home. However, I highly recommend that you start off with 1 kettlebell to just get your body moving, okay? And moving in the right pattern. Okay, get your kettlebell. A light kettlebell too, if you've got that. A light kettlebell can be anywhere from 8 to 12 to 14 kilos. May even be a 16 kilo. It all depends on what weight you are as well. So I highly recommend starting anywhere between 8 and 12 kilos. Also, before you even pick that kettlebell up, would like you to go through these movements with just your body weight to begin with, so you know exactly where you're going with the weight, okay? So the hip hinge deadlift, you've got your feet just under your hips here, okay? Now what we want to do is be slightly soft through the knees. Now you want your shoulders pulled back, the core is braced, all right? So what I want you to do here is slide your hands down the front of your thighs to your knees, keeping your eyes on the floor in front of you. Now as I come back up into full hip extension, my eyes come back up onto the horizon, okay? I'm squeezing my glutes at the top, I've got full hip extension here, and I'm feeling quite strong. So you're breaking at the hips here, my spine is nice and neutral, just side on once again. Sliding down to my knees, the hands are, and now I come back up to full hip extension. Now as I come here, I'm working the hamstrings, the glutes, and basically the posterior chain muscles. So everything in my rear here is working, all right? My feet are nicely planted to the floor. Number 2, let's rewind. Let's go back and do it with a kettlebell. Hip hinge deadlift with a kettlebell. Place the kettlebell just between the feet here. So it's about around my toe area, where my toes are, okay? So the same movement pattern that you just did with body weight. We're going to bend down, and we're going to grab the kettlebell with both hands here, and I'm going to keep my eyes to the ground. I'll come back up to full hip extension. Okay, we want to make sure that we don't do hyperextension here, all right, through that lower back. Just come straight up like you're pressing your feet into the ground. Slowly come on back down, okay, and come back up. Now, a variation from here is, a lot of you may not have that flexibility or that mobility to pick that kettlebell up from the ground, okay? Because you're big, the belly's in the way, and you might not be able to grab that kettlebell from the ground. So use a prop, use a chair, place the kettlebell on a chair, or I've got a little block here, that's the best I've got at the moment. So just place it on a block to elevate the weight, okay? Same thing, pick up the kettlebell, and we're just going to come down, pick the kettlebell up, bring it to our body, slide it down. Now, we're coming down just past the knees here. I'm not going to go all the way to the ground, and this is going to turn it into a hang lift. Come back up, squeeze the glutes, same thing. Same concept, working the same muscles, but we're just using a variation there until that flexibility comes into play over time. Okay, now it can also be done with 2 kettlebells. Just quickly give you a demo. This is for further down the track. After a few weeks you're feeling super strong, all right, you grab both your bells, all right, bending at the knees, lift it up, extend from the hip, extend at the hips, and come on back down. So from here, the feet go a little bit wider because I've got the 2 kettlebells here, all right? Pull the shoulders back, lifting up, bend through the knees, squeeze the glutes, and come on down. Okay, now a common mistake with the deadlift is a lot of the time, what I see in people is rounding the shoulders, just really picking up like so. Now you can actually lift with your back, but that's another lift, and I won't go into it in this video, okay? But for this, we're concentrating on shoulders back, neutral spine, glutes engaged, core engaged, and doing either the hang lift or the deadlift. Number 2, shoulder press. Okay, so we're just going to grab a light kettlebell here, but first I want you to do it with body weight. Hand to the chest here. You're going to press that hand up. Try and lock that elbow out as much as you can and bring it straight back down to the front, okay? So you don't want the elbow to come out to the side, because when you've got the weight in your hand, you want to be able to protect your shoulder, okay? We're doing just a front strict press here. Now, you may be limited in your mobility or range of movement, so just take it to where you can. So I suggest you go super light, maybe even a 6 kilo if you've got it, if your mobility is quite bad, all right? So we will work on it over time. And here we go, we pick up the kettlebell. Now you would have seen me, I just did a fancy move there, it's called a kettlebell clean. We've also got the correct grip here, kettlebell grip where the handle sits across my hand at a 45-degree angle, and I've got a really good insert and also a rack. So that's something extra that you need to learn. So if you go to our website, you will see that we've got free PDFs on kettlebell grips and kettlebell racking, which I would highly recommend that you go and download and learn it. So that way it will make things a lot easier for you and how to work with that kettlebell and picking it up and resting it and racking, especially for that shoulder press. Okay, clean the kettlebell up. We press it straight up and bring it back down. Now you want to make sure that you're not using your legs here. It's called a kettlebell press, all right? So it's a strict press, straight up and down. So from here, you want to make sure, a common mistake is a lot of people will tend to use their back. Generally that's because the kettlebell is too heavy. We don't need to worry about kettlebells being too heavy for you because it's going to be light to begin with. So just concentrate on core braced, glutes braced, everything is tight, even the quads, up and down. And then you just change sides, okay? You put the kettlebell back to the ground, all right? Nice and slow, bending the knees, hip hinge down, and then you pick it back up again and press with the other side. Okay, number 3, the kettlebell row. Okay, an assisted row we're going to call it, because it's the most safest way to do it when you're starting out with kettlebells. So we come into like a side lunge. Split stance, back foot is nice and flat, front foot is pointing forward. We bend through that front knee. Okay, kettlebell is placed beside our front foot here. Roll the shoulder back and down. Okay, my spine is nice and neutral, everything's engaged. I've got a good foundation here. My front forearm is resting on my front thigh. We're going to row that kettlebell in towards the hips and come on back down. Row and back down. So you want to make sure that you're not actually rowing it in to the shoulder here, which means you can see the difference. I'm curling it in. I'm actually using my bicep muscle here. You want to be working the posterior chain muscles, which is your rhomboids, your scapula, and your latissimus dorsi. So basically all the muscles in your back, all right? Squeezing the shoulder blades together and putting the kettlebell back to the ground. Now, a variation could be, okay, I can't bend through that front knee just yet, or the kettlebell is too low. Put the kettlebell up on a platform. Once again, a little block or a little step, row it in, take it down. All right. Now you can also put your hand on a chair if it's too much to put your forearm on your thigh. So I just visualize I've got my hand on a chair there, my kettlebell is elevated, and I'm still rowing it in to my hip. All right, that just makes things a little bit easier, and that's just another variation until that mobility and flexibility gets better for you. The chest press. We lay on the ground. First we're going to do a body weight. Feet are firmly planted here, okay? So I'm going to bring my elbow out at 90 degrees. Now the elbow can be 45 or close in. So you take it to where it's good for your range of motion, okay? If you find that it hurts with the shoulder, that when the elbow is out at 90 degrees, move it in further towards the body, okay? So you take it where it feels good for you. You don't ever want to feel pain when you're exercising. Okay, so we're going to press it up over the chest and bring it back down. Just do a first few drills with body weight, and now we're going to introduce the kettlebell. So the safety roll, roll over, grab the kettlebell, insert the hand, other hand comes up and under, I help lift it up and over. Now I place my elbow to where it's good for me, okay, my abs pulled in, my back is nice and flat to the ground. I press that kettlebell up, over the chest, come on back down. Okay, to transition to the other side, you bring it behind the head, okay, or you can just come up and over and transition to the other side like so. But for today, I'm going to do it this way, where I transition the kettlebell up over the head, I roll over, pick it up and press up and down. And safely bring it back to the ground with two hands, roll over, pop it back down. Kettlebell farmer's walk. Kettlebell farmer's walk is great for working the whole body basically. And the heavier load that you have, the harder it gets. But to begin with, we're going to start off with one kettlebell, and eventually you'll lead to two kettlebells. Why? Because you're going to be feeling good and you're going to be feeling stronger. All right, so place the kettlebell beside our feet here. All right, we hip hinge down to pick it up, or it's a slight little squat here, bending through the knees. I pick the kettlebell up. I'm making sure that my shoulders are nice and square. My abs are braced here. If they're not braced, the weight pulls me to one side, okay? And then you're just walking away. You may want to walk 30, 40 or even 50 meters there and back, all right? And then you put the kettlebell down and you change sides. You pick it up. Now, how do we grip the kettlebell within our farmer's walk? You want to make sure that you're not over gripping too much, okay? Especially just with a light weight. You don't want to put all that energy into the grip, into over gripping. The grip really comes into play as you're getting heavier with your weights. All right, so just keep it nice and loose here. I've still got a firm grip, but I'm not over gripping where my forearms take over, and you'll know all about that as you get heavier with the weights. So yeah, so just nice and lightly here through the fingers, and just pick the kettlebells up and go for your little walk. Now we're doing with two kettlebells. Okay, the weight is more evenly distributed. We're still working the core, but because we've got that extra load happening now, it's harder for the legs, it's harder for the whole body, basically, because everything needs to stabilize more with heavier weights. So they were the 5 exercises that are good for you and are good for the obese because they're safe and they're low impact. Now, those were the 5 best exercises for the obese, okay? Why? Because they're low impact, they're safe, and they work on your strength, form, and technique. Now, when you go to our URL, go.cavemantraining.com/lose30, there are 3 other exercises that we suggest that you actually start off with first. body weight. So you've got the body weight squat, you've got the body weight hip hinge, and the plank, okay? So go there, and you can also work on your body weight exercises as well. They're also going to help you with progressing to these exercises. Okay, so you asked the question, are kettlebells good for fat loss? Well, in this case, they are, but that's not the only thing that's good for fat loss. You really have to pay attention to your nutrition, okay? So coming from a background where I was quite overweight and obese, and I've lost over 100 pounds, I can really understand what it's like to start, because I was you in the past. I had to start somewhere as well. The first thing I looked at was what I was eating. Okay, so you really need to find out where your weaknesses lie. Do you come home from work and you take the easy way out, you go through that drive-through, oh, I don't have time to cook it, I'm too tired, this and that. Are you really putting in the effort to take some time out in the kitchen to prepare some good, fresh, healthy food for yourself instead of taking the easy way out? Number one, that's where your weakness will lie, is through takeout food, if that's what you're doing. Are you taking the time to make some good, fresh, healthy food? Going to the market, getting your fresh fruit and vegetables, getting good quality food. You can actually eat quite cheap, but still eat healthy, okay? When you go to the supermarket, you want to avoid the inside aisles, the middle aisles. Basically shop around the outside of the supermarket. That's where you'll find your fresh produce. Also, never go shopping when you're hungry, because if you notice, if you're hungry and you're shopping, your trolley will just be full of junk food, okay? You're just grabbing everything you can because you're hungry. It's normal for people to do that. And you'll find that when you are going to the supermarket and you've just eaten, you'll make better choices because you're in a better frame of mind. Also, how much alcohol are you drinking? It's okay to have a couple of glasses of wine here and there, maybe once or twice a week. Couple of glasses, I said, not a whole bottle. Everything in balance and moderation, okay? I like to have a couple of glasses of wine here and there too, but not every day. It's when we do things every day that adds up over time into you gaining weight. So you didn't just gain weight overnight, it took time, okay? So it's also going to take time for you to lose weight, to lose fat, okay? So you've got to be consistent with what you do every day, not just over 4 weeks or 6 weeks. These changes you implement are going to be small changes, but over time, you want them to be a lifestyle. So don't go too drastic when you first start off. I know that a lot of the times with my clients that I've trained in the past, yep, I'm getting into an exercise routine, going to be doing this, going to be doing that. They quit smoking, they quit drinking, they went cold turkey with everything. However, within 3 or 4 weeks, they're like, oh my goodness, I've had enough. And I'm sure you've been down that road too. It becomes too hard, it becomes too much of a chore. You're thinking about it every day, and that's not the way to go. Implement small changes over time. Okay, so you're going to get up out of bed, you're going to go for your early morning walk, you're going to come back, for an example, and do some of these kettlebell exercises, okay? That's your morning workout done. You may even go for another walk in the afternoon. It depends on what you want to do, how much time you have, but don't go super hard and then you'll just fall off the horse completely, because it's very hard to get back on that horse. Knowing what foods to eat, basically it's pretty simple. Fresh fruit and veggies, stay away from processed foods. Anything that basically comes out of a packet, get rid of it, okay? So anything from Mother Nature is great. However, you can have too much of a good thing, so it all comes down to your portion sizes as well. So you want to really make sure that, are you eating for 2 or are you just eating for 1? So a good size plate is to have basically a dinner plate, not a dinner plate that looks like a platter plate, okay? So pile it up with a lot of green vegetables. You've got some protein in the mix and some good healthy fats, okay? Your protein, carbs and fats everything in balance. And if you want to know more about this and how to stay balanced, you can always message me and ask me about your how much of this and that to be having. But to begin with, keep it really basic, okay? Exercise as well. Don't go hell for leather to begin with. You want to be able to stay motivated to keep doing your exercise every day. So if you're doing the 5 exercises that we have here for you, and then the next day you wake up and you're super sore, listen to your body. Take an active recovery day. Go for a walk instead. But I want you to keep moving your body every day. All right. So you've got your upper body workout. You did that yesterday. Take a walk. Go for a half an hour walk instead. All right. Walking is active recovery. It's good. It's also good for your cardio and you're moving your body. And then you can just come back and do a few stretches. And then the next day you might get into the workout again. But there's a difference between you being sore and absolutely you can't move a muscle and pure laziness. Or if you're just too lazy, oh, I don't really want to do it again. It's too hard work. You know whether you're being lazy or whether it's just pure muscle soreness, okay? And you need to take that break. But don't completely take a break. I suggest you keep moving because it's all about training the mind. If you take too much time off, it takes too much time to get back into the swing of things. So you really want to keep that mind going. But you want to at least set a goal that you're going to start off working out 3 to 4 times a week with these exercises, okay? So you're starting off light, so it should be okay for you to at least work out for that amount of times per week. Shouldn't be too sore, but if you are, take that rest. In regards to how many reps and sets, you may start off doing, say, 5 or 6 reps of the hip hinge deadlift. Okay, have a rest, do another set of 5. Okay, and same as the shoulder press, the row, the chest press, and the farmer's walks. So yeah, listen to your body. Give it a break when it needs to, but also make sure that you get back into it. Even though you may still be a little bit sore 7 days later, you've got to get back into it because otherwise the mind will start to play with you. And a lot of the times it's the mind that we have to train more than the body. Yeah, that's so true. The mind is very, very powerful, even when it comes to food choices. Before you go and eat something, think about it. Look at you, look at the food and say to yourself, is this going to make me feel good? Or am I going to feel really guilty and lethargic and tired after I've eaten this? So if you can answer that question to yourself and say, yes, it's going to make me feel good, well then you're going to go ahead and eat it, okay? Good, fresh, healthy food. But if you go and have a packet of cookies and say, is this food going to make me feel good? Well, you really know the answer to that because number one, it has no nutritional value whatsoever. It's full of sugar and it's going to make you feel super tired and lethargic, okay, after a while. And you want to try and get out of that habit, reduce your sugar. So basically, it's all about calories in versus calories out. If you're consuming more calories than what you're putting out, that's how the weight starts to pile on over time. And even the alcohol, it's quite high in calories. So if you're drinking a lot more than what you should be, it's also going to add on the weight as well. So yeah, everything in balance and moderation. You're thinking, I want to get started, but I need some motivation and some accountability. How am I going to start? How am I going to talk to somebody about some goals, etc.? Well, we've actually created a private group especially for you to join where other people are in the same shoes as you. You can talk, interact, ask questions. If you feel like you're falling off the horse one day and you're looking for some inspiration, this group is brilliant because it's exclusive and it's for people just like you. Number one, accountability. you will feel accountable to this group. You can actually use this group in many ways. You can ask for some motivation and you'll get it, okay? It depends where you're falling short, ask the group. Consistency, if you're feeling like you're struggling with exercise one day or your nutrition, post in the group, what is a great, quick, healthy meal that I can have instead of going through that drive-through, okay? We can also chat about some meal prep or some nutritional side of things. I also have some cooking videos up on my YouTube channel that will help you come up with some cooking ideas where you can actually prepare 10 or 20 meals, freeze them, and then you come home from work, you just pop it in the microwave and that's a good, healthy, nutritious meal ready for you already. And you're gonna wake up the next day and feel so much better than going out through that drive-through and eating that McDonald's or whatever it may be. Achievable goals in the group, say, okay, guys, I'm looking to lose 5 pounds this month. I need every bit of help that I can get. What do you suggest is an achievable goal? Well, that certainly is an achievable goal, 5 pounds in a month. But 30 pounds in a month, oh, you might be pushing it a little bit there because we're just starting off and we need to start things slowly. And you don't want to get disheartened by the end of the month. So small steps to climb that mountain, okay? So basically the group is all about questions and answers. You'll get that coaching from us. You can also post your videos in there with your form and technique when you are doing the exercises. Don't worry, nobody else will see them, only the people in this group. It's an exclusive private group and we can help you along the way. Also, if you have any injuries, we can talk about your injuries and ways around it, how you can still keep moving without causing any pain. Okay, so that's the beauty about this group as well. And you are not alone. If you really want to do this, you can do anything that you want to, and you will get there. It just takes time and you've got to be patient. Remember, persistence beats resistance.